Send this video to anybody who still believes the US government conducts regime changes because they actually want to liberate the country from a brutal dictator. If they truly cared about freeing people from tyrannical and maniacal regimes, how do you explain Saudi Arabia being a major ally of the US? You know, the same country whose crown prince ordered the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi inside of a Saudi embassy and then had his body dismembered and disposed of. This is the same guy who Trump met in the Oval Office in November of 2025. And when a journalist questioned the Crown Prince about his involvement in this brutal assassination, Trump responded for him and said, quote, he knew nothing about it, despite his own intelligence services stating that the Crown Prince ordered the murder. So if you believe Trump when he claims to care that Iran is shooting protesters in the streets, well, the Saudi kingdom is infamous for this exact thing. The Saudi Ministry of Interior, which is the equivalent to the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, has been condemned for years as one of the most brutal and atrocious human rights violators in the world. Just one example is from 2011 when they, quote, poured an antiseptic cleaning liquid down the throat of a human rights activist. They're notorious for using invasive surveillance technology to target political and religious dissidents. And guess who provides them this technology? The US government. Well, the US taxpayers, really. So while the US Department of State is cataloging Saudi Arabia's long track record of brutality, the NSA is providing Saudi Arabia the very technology it needs to perpetuate these abuses. Now, I will give them some credit because they were kind enough to pause statewide executions during the Crown Prince's visit to the Oval Office in 2025. But upon his return to the kingdom, they doubled the bloodshed. So listen, if the US government truly cared about liberating people and freeing countries from horrific leaders, they could have taken care of that while the Crown Prince was in Washington, D.C. But spreading democracy and freeing people from tyranny is never a motivation for performing a regime change in any part of the world. In fact, they actually prefer that the countries in the Middle East have oppressive leaders like the Crown Prince because they can count on them to ensure that any sort of anti-American sentiment is quickly squashed. Let me know if there's other US allies you want me to do a deep dive on who have tyrannical governments. That is, if the Crown Prince doesn't pull a Khashoggi on me after seeing this video.